You just signed off on a new AI tool or system. Six figures, maybe more. And 3 months later, the reports are still wrong and the approvals are still getting skipped. It's the same mess with a nicer interface. Sound familiar? I'm Mike Hiley, and I spent almost 30 years in professional services, 14 of them at WPP, implementing technology across different countries and industries. I've watched this exact pattern play out more times than I can count. The fastest way to waste money on AI or a new system is to buy it before you understand your processes. Here's how it typically starts. You identify a problem in your business. Maybe billing is taking too long, project reports are arriving too late, or you just simply don't trust the margin numbers. So you start evaluating tools, an AI assistant, a new platform, a workflow automation. But you haven't answered the basic questions first. What does this process actually do today? Who owns it? What information does it need? Where does it break down? What should be standardized? And what should be automated? Skip those questions and you get an expensive system that makes inconsistent processes move faster. That's not progress, it's the same chaos with a bigger price tag. You reach for technology first because it feels tangible. A demo gives you something to react to or to work towards. However, process improvement means hard conversations about who owns what and why three teams do the same job in three different ways. Vendors make this worse because every demo shows you a clean, standardized workflow. It never shows you the incomplete data, or the manual workarounds, or the three different definitions of billable your team is using. And you mistake a process problem for a technology problem. You say you need a new time tracking system. You say you need AI to write your project reports. You say you need an ERP because month end takes 3 weeks. And the tool might be part of the answer. But the real problem usually lives in the processes, the data, and who's accountable. Those symptoms don't tell you what to fix, but they do tell you where to look. The irony is that automation doesn't fix broken work, it speeds it up. You make inconsistency faster. AI processes information quickly. It can't decide which version of your inconsistent process is the right one. Well, at least not yet. You lock in steps that should have been cut. Software formalizes what you feed it, including the approvals and workarounds you don't need. You reproduce your old inefficiencies with a new interface. Duplicate data entry and unclear ownership don't disappear just because you replace a spreadsheet with software. The result is you get more resistance to change because your team won't adopt a system that doesn't match how they actually work. You end up paying for endless customizations. Skip standardizing the process first, and every team makes its own configurations. That drives up costs and testing time and how much you depend on consultants. Research consistently points to this at scale. MIT's project NANDA reviewed more than 300 enterprise IP deployments, and roughly 95% showed no measurable effect on P&L. The gap wasn't the AI model, it was how the process that fed it was structured. I've seen the same pattern throughout my career. Firms that skip a real process review and jump straight to configuration spend the rest of the project trying to recover. Every one of those problems gets worse, not better, once you turn on the software. Process first means four things. One, start with the business outcome you want. This could mean things like fewer billing delays, real margin visibility, a tighter revenue forecast, or a clearer handoff from sales to delivery. Number two, understand what's actually happening. Not what the policy manual says, but what your team actually does, where they've built their own spreadsheets, and which approvals get skipped. Number three, challenge it. Don't automate everything that exists today. Ask if a step really adds value. Ask if an approval is necessary. Ask if a handoff can disappear entirely. And number four, design the future state. Define who does what, who decides what, and what information moves where, and how you know if it's working or not. Mapping your current process is a diagnostic step, not a blueprint for a new system. It exposes bottlenecks, weak controls, and unclear ownership. A new platform might tell you to cut out manual data entry, remove handoffs entirely, or get close to real-time reporting. And don't repave the path just because it's familiar. At the same time, don't design the perfect process in a vacuum. A workflow that needs massive customization isn't practical. Build the process, check it against realistic technology options, and then refine it if necessary. Process first is a sequence, not a war between two departments. This matters in professional services because it shows up everywhere. For example, in project setup, decide what counts as a project, who can create one, and how sales information flows into delivery before you configure anything. For time and expense, software can't tell you what counts as billable, when time is due, or who approves them, because those are your decisions. In resource planning, a planning tool is useless if your team can't agree on what counts as available capacity. And for billing and revenue, settle on how you treat fixed fee versus time and materials, and who approves write offs before you configure a billing workflow. Every one of those is a management decision, and none of those is a software feature. Here's how it plays out with something as simple as a weekly report. Say your project managers pull weekly reports by hand from timesheets, emails, financial reports. Leadership wants AI to generate them manually. If you buy the AI tool first and connect it to every single system you have, it'll hit inconsistent project stages, missing status updates, and no agreed reporting format. So you would get fast, confident, wrong information. Fix the process first, define what decision the report needs to support it, agree on which metrics matter, assign ownership to every input, and decide who's accountable for what goes out the door. Then configure the AI to support the process. The AI didn't change, but the process around it did. Watch out for these red flags before looking at AI or a new system. Different teams that do the same work in different ways. No one clearly owns the process. Critical data lives in a project manager's personal spreadsheet. Your team can't tell you why an approval step exists. Reports need heavy manual reconciliation every time. New requirements are really just a list of vendor features. And every department wants its own configuration. If three or more of those sound like your firm, you're not ready for new technology. You're ready for process work. Look, everyone's getting excited about AI and platforms and how they can improve your business. And they can certainly improve your speed, consistency, and decision making, but they can't compensate for an unclear process or a decision you've been avoiding. Get the process right, and the technology choice gets way easier. If this was useful, please do subscribe because we post content like this every week.